Welcome to the age of Skeletor!
The power of Grayskull!
Hey everybody, Mac here, and I have something a little different for you today. I have Old Bonehead, the Lord of Destruction himself, Skeletor, from the new He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon. If you haven't seen this, you should check it out. I thought it was pretty good. Check that out up top. And it's a very fun show, and this is probably my second favorite rendition of Skeletor through the line. The look of him, the attitude of him, that cackling laugh, I just really like this. And if you've been watching the show, you know I haven't really picked up any of the new figures for the Masters of the Universe, whether it's this cartoon, whether it's Revelations, the Masterverse, the Origins line. I've been focusing on the Mega Constructs Masters of the Universe line. But when I saw this, I wanted to get this. It just looked so cool to me, and it was only $12. And I think these figures, because this looks like he's about an 8-inch figure, I think these are kind of Mattel's answer to Hasbro's Titan series and the Spin Masters DC figures that are like 10 inches tall. So the packaging for this is very basic. It's pretty much a box. The only window you have is right here. There's nothing up top other than the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe logo. There's just the design on the side, and it carries around to this side as well. On the back, we have a nice promotional shot and a cross-sell that we're going to have He-Man and Man-at-Arms in this larger scale, too. There's also a Battle Armor He-Man that he was like one of the first figures that came out that was at this scale. But honestly, I think Skeletor is the only one I'm going to buy. And I don't know what I'm going to do with him because I don't have anything else that's going to be this big to put him on the shelf with, so he'll be standing alone. But let's get him standing at least and get him out of the box, and we will take a look at Mattel, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Skeletor. Okay, friends, here he is out of the box, and you can see that right off the bat, Skeletor is a big, chunky boy, especially right here, across the shoulders, across the chest, because much like the animation for this cartoon, this is a very wonky, proportioned version of Skeletor, with these short, normal-looking legs, and then this huge broad chest and these big Horkin guns right here, these pipes, these arms. So let's put a tape measure to him and see how tall Skeletor is. And to the top of his hood, he's a little over 8.5 inches tall. He's almost 9 inches tall. I don't know if you can see that. Let me move that back a little bit. He's almost 9 inches tall to the top of his hood right here. So he's a big boy. All right. So let's take a closer look at him, and let's look at the articulation, because the articulation is when we really start to see that this is a $12 children's toy. Now, I'm going to have some minor issues with it. Now, keep in mind that when I say these minor issues, these are all little nitpicks, because I do realize this is a $12 figure. I do realize this is for kids. I do realize this isn't meant for collectors, but there are just a few little things here and there that I would have liked to have seen filled in, and truthfully, it's nothing that I or somebody else who buys this can't fix for themselves. So let's take a closer look at our boy Skeletor here. Okay, first off, we're going to take a look at the articulation, and we're going to start with the head. Now, this hood is a very soft rubber. It almost comes off, but there's enough hood here that it actually retains its shape. It's not something that you can pull back very easily, but at the same time, it's not glued to his head, and you can even see some of Skeletor's skull. Now, underneath the hood, the head does move around. It is articulated on a ball joint in there, so you can actually get some pretty decent movement from Skeletor's head inside that hood, and I really like that. He can't really look down. He can look up a little bit, but pretty much he's just going to be looking straight on. Now, the arms. The arms do come out to the sides, but they don't come up to a full 90 degrees. And at first I thought it was because of the rubber of his hood piece here, but I really think it's just the joints don't come all the way up. Now, they do a full 360, but when you get to the top here, you have to move them out so that they'll move around this piece. It does get a little tight. Can they do a full 360? Yeah, they can if it wasn't for all of this. This one can as well. Now, this arm, his standard arm, has a hinged elbow, single-jointed elbow that can come up to 90, and it's a hinge and swivel, and it has a wrist swivel, no pivot or anything on the wrist. Now, on this side, his elbow is not hinged. His elbow is static. From here to here, this is all static. Now, his skeleton hand here, very soft rubber for this, so these fingers aren't going to break. But his skeleton hand, I was able to get a twist out of that, but this is so stiff that honestly, I don't know if it's supposed to do this or if I forced it, because that is much stiffer than this wrist. So I don't know if I'm forcing it and it's not supposed to be able to turn like this, or if it is designed to do that and it just needs loosened up a little bit. I'm not entirely sure. Mileage may vary. Just beware if you try to move it on your own that I may be breaking it. This may be a mistake. There is no ab crunch at all. This is all solid, but he does have a waist twist, and he can actually do a full spin at the waist. Legs can come out, do a full split. Legs can come forward. Legs can go back. And there is an ankle swivel that the ankles will do spin all the way around, and that's it for the legs. No knees, no toe articulation, which honestly, I thought these big toes were going to be articulated. I thought when we looked on the box, I thought that they looked articulated, but they're just hollow plastic down here. So there's nothing in the legs, but he can stand. He is very sturdy at standing. Okay, now we take a look at the sculpt, and first of all, I think his skull head, his skeleton head, looks fantastic. I just wish there was a little bit more paint, like especially here where his jaw is open on the side. I wish there was some black paint in there and maybe something just to highlight the teeth. Because as it is right now, I know it's happening on the camera, but it's also happening in real life, that the teeth and the jawline are kind of lost because it's all this bright fluorescent green look. Now, also in the cartoon and on the 5-inch figure, that the Havoc sort of cracks the skin of his neck, and you can see the orange, or let me see if I can turn on the light. No, it doesn't make any difference. And you can see like the neon green in these divots that are around his neck and his chest. I really wish those were painted in, just to give him some more color in here and to make that area really pop on the figure. Like I said, though, these, I get it that this is a 12-inch. This is a $12 figure. This was for kids. I get that they cut some corners and maybe got a little lazy on some things, but I really wish they would have colored that in. And finally, you have this great-looking ram's head right here. You have the armor coming up over his shoulders. It meets up with this purple part from this cowling piece, and then they just stopped painting. Like, you can see the rest of the ram horn wrapping around underneath his arms on his torso, but it's the same color as his skin, where this should be painted black to match these. Now, this would be a real easy fix. This would just be get some black paint and paint this in. Get like a dull matte black to match this and paint that in. So that's an easy fix right there. But that's what I mean. Like, these are minor issues for a figure like this, but this one really bothers me because, I mean, just paint the thing, guys. You did it here. Paint it here as well. I really wish that would be painted into the neck. I might actually do that on my own. I know I'm probably going to do this on my own as well. But down here, the loincloth, I like the detail work on the loincloth here. I think that looks really good. Wraps all the way around. There's like, it's not just plain. Like, you can see like all of these buckles and his belt. And it's like a chain just wrapped around his waist right here. Which, truthfully, I didn't notice that in the cartoon, that he had a chain holding up his loincloth, holding up this little skirt piece. And this is a very soft rubber, so that when you bring his legs forward, it does get out of the way. The legs, there's not much to speak of. It's just, this is all smooth plastic for these purple leggings, and then he has these anklets that match his wrist bracer up here, and this piece right here, and then he has his bare feet. So, that is Skeletor. I like him. I like the look of him. I wish the paint was done a little bit better, but I get it. Now let's just set him down, and we will take a look at his accessories. And he only comes with one, and of course that is his Havoc staff. And the Havoc staff, the front of it, looks really good. I love this ram design here with the horns that come back, and I love how it matches up with the symbol on his chest. What I don't love is it's hollow. And I know the 5.5-inch figures did this with Skeletor's Havoc staff, but for the size of this, for it being this big, I was really hoping this was going to be filled in. Actually, I wasn't hoping, I was expecting all of this to be filled in. I didn't think this was going to be a hollow piece. But it does look good. I'm not sure it's tall enough for this version of Skeletor. I thought the Havoc staff was still a little bit bigger. It does not fit, well, I mean, it does fit in his skeleton hand, but he doesn't hold it very well, unless you take it all the way. Even then, he doesn't hold it very well. There's really no grip in the skeleton hand. However, in this hand, it fits really well. And he looks good holding it. And you can get some decent looks out of him for what he is. There you go. Skeletor. Okay, I really don't have anything this big to compare him to, but let's do this anyway. Here he is next to G.I. Joe Classified 1/12 scale Destro and the Cobra Trooper. Here he is next to McFarlane Toys Mortal Kombat 11 Shao Kahn and Spawn. Here he is next to Marvel Select Thanos and Hasbro Power Rangers Lightning Collection King Sphinx. Here he is beside NECA Toys Defenders of the Earth Ming the Merciless and Ultimate Pinhead. And finally, here he is with Jazzware's Wicked Cool Toys, Spartan Collection, Master Chief, and Cat. So for a big, chunky $12 figure that was obviously meant for kids, I still think Skeletor is pretty cool in this design. I really like this look. I really like this version of the character. I do wish the paint job was done a little bit better, but that is just minor nitpicks. One thing that I do wish they would have done, even considering it's just a $12 toy meant for kids, is filled in that Havoc staff. I don't like the ram being hollow. I mean, that's pretty cheap. I don't like it on the 5.5-inch figures either, let alone a big guy like this. But I understand this isn't going to be for everybody. Not everybody is going to want something this big. Not everybody is going to want to get a line this big that is going to have some flaws. Because I know the paint app, I've seen He-Man and I've seen Man-at-Arms on the shelf in Walmart as well. I just didn't want to get those, but I know the paint app gets a little bit lazy on those as well. So it's going to be something across the board that if you're willing to fix it, they might look pretty cool once it's all said and done, but just be aware of what you're getting. I like Skeletor. I'm not going to get any of the other ones. I'm glad I got this guy. I really wish he would have been on the shelf last month so that I could have had him for Bricktober. There was a lot of stuff that I wish I could have had for Bricktober. It just hasn't shipped yet. There will be more of that coming. So until it comes, play well, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.